TomoNews presents Fake Things.
In China, it's normal coming across fake or counterfeit goods everywhere you go. In fact, it's probably more of a shock when things are actually real. You could say that China likes to keep it real with all its fake stuff. Take the completely harmless, made-in-China iPhone chargers for example. They're a killer buy and perfect for any occasion. Better yet are these set of emergency doors located in a Chinese mall. There are 2 of them to make things extra efficient. And better yet, it doubles the feng shui.
Wyjście awaryjne w Chinach.
Okay, so maybe having emergency doors that don't actually lead anywhere might not be the best idea. But honestly, what could possibly go wrong? In fact, having such genius architectural design could even prove to be useful to the Chinese authorities in some instances. So next time you're in China and you use some emergency doors that lead to nowhere, don't freak out. It's supposed to be like that.
Fake U.S. Embassy in Ghana stayed open for a decade. The U.S. State Department recently uncovered a criminal operation in Ghana that had been passing off a ramshackle building in the capital as America's official embassy. The sham embassy was housed in a battered pink building with a U.S. flag. With white people manning the inside and a photo of Obama on the wall, most assumed it was legit. In reality, the consular officers were Turkish and in cahoots with the Ghanaian crime rings. Instead of getting clients from nearby, they advertised via flyers and billboards to customers in remote parts of West Africa. Clients were shuttled to the city, booked at a nearby hotel, and taken to and from the fake embassy. Walk-ins were not accepted. For a fee of $6,000, applicants could be issued fraudulently obtained but legitimate U.S. visas, or any other false identification documents they needed. The scheme went on for a decade until folks from the real U.S. Embassy caught on, leading to the arrest of several suspects in a police raid. More than 100 passports, legitimate and counterfeit visas and documents were found in the investigation, along with the discovery of another fake embassy, this one Dutch.
34-year-old Texas woman poses as an orphan and enrolls in high school. To all who knew her, Charity Stevens seemed like just your average sophomore at New Life Christian School in Longview, Texas. The 15-year-old orphan, however, was apparently hiding one important detail about herself: the fact that she was actually a 34-year-old woman. And no, this wasn't some 21 Jump Street style undercover police operation. Stevens, who was popular at the school and enrolled in October, was apparently just doing it for the fun of it. She was arrested earlier on Sunday after the woman with whom she was staying figured out what was going on and informed local police.
One guy almost fooled the entire world of journalism. One man was such a good con artist, he managed to trick international journalists. You know, those folks who are supposed to be the most scrupulous of all about sources and stuff. By and large, most people on social media, and many in the media industry, believe this man's false identity as a surf-loving war photographer. Before being revealed as a con artist, the unnamed man went by the name of Eduardo Martins, an accomplished photographer who was not only handsome, but also a skilled surfer from Sao Paulo. Oh, and a survivor of leukemia. Over the past 3 years, Martin said he worked as a United Nations war photographer, snapping events in the Gaza Strip, Syria, and Iraq, where he's said to have witnessed the battle for Mosul against the Islamic State. Man, that sounds really badass. Martin's photos were widely used by Al Jazeera, Deutsche Welle, The Wall Street Journal, BBC Brazil, and image agencies such as Getty Images. In fact, those images were actually taken by other photographers who actually went to the war zones. The little con man merely inverted the images horizontally and added some slight alterations. A BBC Brazil contributor in the Middle East became suspicious after Martins contacted her. She later reached out to other Brazilian journalists working in the Middle East and learned that Eduardo Martins never existed. The UN and other groups whom Martins said he worked for told BBC Brazil that Martins never worked for them, and none of them recognized his face. BBC Brazil later discovered that the images supposedly of Martins himself were actually of 32-year-old British surfer Max Hepworth Povey, who had zero knowledge that this was happening. Once the con artist's work was called into question, he deleted his social media accounts and WhatsApp. However, before he went silent, he said he was in Australia and was going to travel the world in a van. Puff, just like that, Eduardo Martins disappeared. BBC Brazil later discovered that Martins had online relationships with at least 6 women, and none of them had ever met him in person. Although the con artist's true identity remains a mystery, what he did is arguably the most successful case of identity fraud since Catch Me If You Can Frank Abagnale Jr.
China's plastic surgeons may only have 4 days of training. In 4 days, you too could be a licensed plastic surgeon. Don't believe it? Well, in China, there are apparently truckloads of so-called plastic surgeons who only have a high school degree, because that's all you need to take a 4-day class in South Korea. One man, nicknamed Awww, claiming to be a plastic surgeon in China, explains that he used to be a hairdresser, but that he'd always wanted to look like a K-pop star. So back in 2012, he met a doctor about getting a double eyelid and rhinoplasty surgery, and paid a pretty penny for it all. Unfortunately, the results were less than desirable, and despite many attempts, Awww was ignored by the doctor, clinic, and legal system. Unhappy with his face, Awww bought a DIY facial surgery kit and began injecting Botox into his face. He would later do work on his nose, forehead, and lips. Now addicted, Awww spent another chunk of change to fly to South Korea, where he attended the 4-day class. The class even grants a license to its graduates. This is the license that hangs in Awww's office. He is now a self-proclaimed plastic surgeon who performs Botox injections, seeing 2 to 5 patients a day and earning between $6,000 to $8,000 US a month. Clearly, medical degrees are overrated.
Facebook finds fake Russian accounts spreading fake news. Aha, so it was the Russians all along. Either that or Facebook is trying to make something out of nothing. Facebook says around 3,000 ads worth $100,000 ran on their network over a 2-year period, ending in May 2017, adding that the purpose of the ads were to spread divisive social and political messages. The ads directed people to 470 accounts that were spreading false news or were in breach of company policies and have since been shut down. As part of an internal investigation on how Facebook could have been used to influence the last U.S. election, the company found ads that were bought from U.S. IP addresses, but with their language set to Russian. According to Facebook, in that part of the review, they uncovered about $50,000 in potentially politically related spending on about 2,200 ads. The advertisements did not support any particular candidate, but focused on immigration, race, and equal rights.
Taiwanese medical student left school to sell counterfeit bags. Having a Maserati is every man's dream. An ex-student of China Medical University in Taiwan, surnamed Zhang, sold fake designer bags as a way to earn some extra money during school. However, the profit was so great that she left school to make selling counterfeit bags as a full-time job. She not only found factories in China to make these bags, she even imported many other fake brands back to Taiwan. She even had a place to sell fake Playboy bags in Taipei downtown.
V Playboy P VIP， 他们等于说这个仿冒厂商他们自己设计这样子的款式来制作。
Police found that in the past 5 years, she earned so much from selling these bags that she was able to buy a Maserati to reward herself. She was arrested on trademark infringement charges on September 30th.
Women busted for selling counterfeit fashion on Facebook Line. This woman was arrested on suspicion of selling counterfeit fashions via Facebook and Line. The woman bought loads of fake items from tobacco sellers in China and made a profit hawking them online to unwitting Taiwanese customers. Police arrested her and also seized hundreds of suspected counterfeit items. The seller told police that she was unaware that selling fake merchandise was illegal.
Banknote scam again in Moroika City, Iwate Prefecture. A supermarket in Moroika City, Japan, reported to police that a fake 1 million yen note that would add up to $10,000 was disguised to look like a 10,000 yen or $100 bill was found in a cash register. Police are treating the case as fraud. The suspect reportedly paid with a fake note that had a strange image of Fukuzawa Yukichi, who normally does not smile on a normal bill. Then he received more than 8,000 yen in change. As soon as the salesperson found the fake 1 million yen note, the police were called in to investigate the fraud. 2 high school students were arrested on November 4th for exchanging the same fake note in Osaka. Another man was also busted for allegedly swindling money at a convenience store in downtown Nagoya last October. Police arrested 5 Iranian thieves dressed like police officers on Thursday who had been robbing tourists on highways in northern Italy. The thieves would show fake police badges to tourists entering rest stops. The imposters would ask for money and car keys, pretending to inspect the car. They would then tell tourists the authenticity of the bills needed to be checked, after which they would walk away. Police caught the thieves while they were attempting one of their robberies at a highway rest stop near Rovato. After seeing the police, the thieves attempted to flee and struck a police officer, slightly injuring him. The robbers made it through a Rovato highway toll booth before a police officer shot the radiator out, bringing their vehicle to a stop. Police have found more than 10,000 euros, 10,000 Swiss francs, Albanian driving licenses, fake Spanish residence permits, and 4 cars used by the thieves during their heists.
New Jersey authorities have cracked down on bars and restaurants serving fake alcohol to patrons after an investigation revealed some disgusting findings. The year-long sting, codenamed Operation Swill, discovered dozens of businesses have been serving bogus booze. Some even sold rubbing alcohol and caramel coloring as whiskey, spiking both drinks and profits. Others had passed off tap and dirty river water as alcohol for mixed drinks. Undercover officers with the Division of Alcoholic Beverage Control secretly took samples before conducting raids on 29 businesses across the state. Among the restaurants raided were 13 different TGI Fridays franchises, all operated by the Bryad Group. Rubbing alcohol, additives, tainted water. Maybe this explains New Jersey people's brain damage.